Chairman and members of the committee still with us, thank you for the opportunity to testify before you today. My name is Patrick Bresette. I am the Executive Director of the Children's Defense Fund here in Texas. It's been 10 years since I've had the chance to testify in front of this committee, but I've had chances in the past to do that, so I'm glad to be back in the building. The Children's Defense Fund, as you may be aware, has worked on behalf of Texas children for more than 15 years here in Texas and more than 40 nationally. I've raised 4 Texas children here, and I'm now raising 4 Texas grandkids out in Rockney, Texas, a little further away from here. And there's a lot I love about raising my kids here in this state, and a lot that I've worked for 25 years to improve. I want to talk to you about 2 numbers that bring me here today. They are 43 and 48. So according to the NEKC Foundation, a well-respected and nonpartisan research center on child well-being, Texas ranks 43rd in overall child well-being in the nation, which means that there are only 7 states in this country that have worse rankings for their kids than Texas does. They have a pretty comprehensive set of indicators, 16 that they use, and I'm happy to share that with the committee. It's unwelcome news for me as a father to watch that, and I've studied those data over many years, but not that surprising. Not that surprising because of the second number. So 48, Texas ranks 48th in the per capita spending on its citizens. These things are obviously linked, at least in my mind, in my study over the last couple of decades. I sometimes sadly point out that you get what you don't pay for in some of these occasions. I know we like to brag about being a small government state, and there's lots of things to talk about that on separate occasions, but there's really nothing to brag about many years of the lack of investment in kids in Texas, and there's really nothing that can be more short-sighted. I think we all know and we talk about how much the foundation of our future, our economy, the attracting of jobs, of all kinds of quality of life and well-being in our state are connected to what we do for our kids and what we spend on them. We're a wealthy state. I mean, I think that's also clear to everybody, and we're in a financial situation now that's equal to few and around the country. And yet, instead of trying to change those numbers I talked about, 43 and 48, we're here talking about nearly $5 billion in sales tax reductions. I also think they're kind of a solution in search of a problem. When you really look at where our overall tax costs are for the average citizen, we still rank in the bottom 10. So even though while we have a high sales tax rate because of our choices in other taxes, the actual amount of taxes that an average person in the state pays is still among the lowest in the country. What we really need to do and what our future demands is to plow as much money as we can into investing in our kids. And we've had decades of research from our state demographer to national research that tell us exactly what to do, to make sure that we don't have a public education system that's not keeping up, that is still struggling even with the investments that you've made, that we don't have a child protective system bursting at the seams, that we don't have kids with mental health going without care, that we don't have 1 in 4 children living in poverty. I mean, these numbers we all know, and yet we look at these kinds of ranks and they continue. I could spend the next 30 minutes, and I don't have that, telling you the list of all the things I think that really need a public investment. I will quote a guy I've gotten to know a little bit, Nick Hanauer, a pretty wealthy venture capitalist in the Northwest, who says that there is no healthy private sector economy on earth that does not also have a healthy public sector economy. And so we talk a lot about driving growth in this state, and yet we undermine the foundations of the things that create community well-being for our kids, etc. So I see this kind of a cut really as shortchanging our future and shortchanging kids where we need to be spending things elsewhere. And I would really urge you to find different ways to spend $5 billion. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you for your testimony.